Welcome back to a new edition of Knicks Perspective. Actually, this is a long-awaited return. Today we're missing one of ours, but we got Plex, Ben, and Jade here today.
Yo.
So we're going to get right into it, right? First of all, welcome back, guys. It's good to see you guys, right?
It's been a long break. We haven't filmed an episode since, what, May?
Since the
Probably
end of
April.
our wonderful year last year.
Oh, no, probably May,
Yeah, May.
Something like that.
What a great season that was.
I know, it was pretty awesome. I would love to spend time just going back and looking at what we went through, but we got to talk about the future because we're already here in preseason.
Can't think about the past.
What's that?
So you can't think about the past. You
Can't
gotta
think about the past,
now.
Think about the future.
We got a bright future right here.
All right, so let's talk about the offseason first, right?
A lot went down.
A lot went down. We have we kind of have the same team, but we have more, right?
More depth.
Yeah, I mean, one of our biggest knocks of last season was probably about the fact that we weren't considered a deep team, didn't have an established bench. That you can say that's partly due to the coach. We're going to talk about the coaching change, but we got new players. But first, what do you think about the offseason? Start with you, Plex. What's your take on how the Knicks went into this offseason and what we added and stuff like that?
I'm trying to remember what they did exactly, but I do know they made a lot of great additions to their bench. I know Brogdon was one of them.
Clarkson,
one.
Yabusele.
Yabusele,
there you
Clarkson.
go. Those three. Well, I don't know if Brogdon's gonna make the roster, but Yabusele and Clarkson, those are some good depth pieces right there to elevate the team.
Ben, what about you?
Man, I am very impressed with. You know what I love is I love that they're going into this season with a competition. They got people fighting for this spot, and I think Landry Shamet looks a lot better. I think that I think we also forget that he was coming off an injury. He got injured in the preseason last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it was up to me, I would love to see Malcolm Brogdon make this team just because he's a former Sixth Man of the Year alongside Clarkson.
Yeah, that veteran.
He gives a veteran presence.
And he had a 50-40-90 season, too.
I didn't know about that.
There's not a lot of players that have been able to do
Also,
that.
he's been on a team that's been to a championship. They might not have won. Like Boston might not
That's
have
right.
won.
He was
but
before they won. Yeah, right.
that's Golden State.
yeah.
So I think he brings that Sixth Man of the Year experience and that championship veteran experience.
He's
So
one
Former rookie of the year.
Oh, that's true,
Might have
too.
been a kind of a weak rookie of the year class, but still.
I
What
think
class was he?
Oh my God.
2016.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow.
I think
Okay,
I'm
it's
very
got
down.
stuff.
but Yabusele, I think he's gonna be a fan favorite.
Ooh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's a Sixers fan. He was like, you got to call him Yabu.
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 Every time he scores.
I'm already a fan, I got to be honest.
He
love
seems
his
like,
energy, dude.
besides, even off the court, he seems like just like a genuine, person and, definitely wants to be on, a championship team because obviously Sixers are not going to be that.
I mean, you know what was cool is what I heard about him talking about his decision is he turned down an offer from other teams like the Nuggets and teams that were are very great to be with us because he loved what we were building. So I think that shows a lot that people want to be here.
Because I feel like in New York, we're more of a family. Even the fans or the team itself, we're all just one big family.
I think MSG is just different, bro. I mean, when it's hitting, it's not.
It's different in New York.
But Yabusele got a chance to see it firsthand, right? We beat them the year. We
wasn't on
played
the-
against.
he wasn't on the
not with the playoffs, but I mean, we played them enough
we
this
played them 4
year.
times,
Yeah.
He saw what we were about, and I'm sure he was probably paying attention to the series the year prior, and he brings a toughness, man. I was big on that signing. We talked about on the podcast before about having Precious Achua, and I feel like he's a big upgrade over him.
Precious, shout out to Precious, though, man. He did his.
I like Precious.
He's in the Heat now.
Yeah, he went back to Miami. But the thing about Yabusele to me that he brings to the table is that we always talked, and granted last year we had injury problems with Mitch at the beginning, but Yabusele comes in and he could play both positions. And one of the things he brings that Precious Achua sometimes did, but I would say not consistently, is Yabusele can block shots. And he can hit the three-point.
That's what I was.
ball right
I was
there.
just gonna say. I was like, the guy can hit the three, man.
Yeah, in one of the sequences in the first preseason game, I don't remember if it was first one or second game, but he hit a three, and then on the next possession,
he had a block.
shot.
I think that was the second game.
No, he had a block, and then he hit the three right after.
Okay.
It was the other way around.
So, we're talking about a guy who is essentially able to come in, and if Mitch is hurt, we didn't even talk about Porty, but Yabusele can play the center on a small lineup if we have
Small
to.
ball. And you still have Cat. You know,
and you could have Cat play with him. So I like that they have a team where now at the forward position, it's almost like you have 4 guys on the roster that can play center. You know, obviously we got Mitch, who looks like a starter, and then Cat can slide to the 5 whenever Mitch is in foul trouble, or if we just want to play smaller.
They could also run a lineup with Hart. At the
Hart could play the
because
4.
He
Yeah,
showed
Small
that the
ball
last
like
couple of
Yep.
years. I mean, I
The
don't know if
bench
that's
is going to have the capability to run up and down the court if they need them to be, assuming guys are healthy. And I like even the idea of Huckporty being that emergency big off the bench, you know. And in the preseason, he's looked good. So, like, I mean, I'm high on the additions. You know, we kind of touched briefly about Clarkson. What I love about Clarkson is he brings veteran leadership. He's been in the league for a while now. He's been on multiple
tough, man.
franchises.
Yeah, he brings a lot of grit. Like, that's
yeah.
what we need.
He will feed. I think that he's another guy that the fans are going to love because he's a special type of player. When he's got it going, he can just. He's a
And like he
great
said,
player.
he said that if we're getting down to the shot clock and you need to get the shot up, he's going to get the shot up. Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like what we were missing last year is outside of Brunson, we didn't have a lot of ISO guys who can just ISO up and
get
just
their own shot.
Yeah.
create his own shot.
What I'm excited about is I'm excited to see like what Mike Breen says about him on the Knicks.
Oh, God.
Excited about the
He's
commentary.
like, yeah, it's another brick.
Well, you
Maybe
know
not
what it
this
is?
time.
He's either going to be loved or people are going to be like, oh, stop shooting. I'm high on Clarkson myself. I know there's going to be nights where his shooting percentage might not be the
there's
best.
definitely like that.
But everybody has off
Seems like
nights.
he could be streaky.
Oh, he's definitely streaky.
You know,
we
so
know
like,
that.
Like that's like almost like a J.R. Smith type.
I was gonna say he reminds me of J.R. Smith a little bit. I think he's a little bit of a smarter basketball player overall.
He's
but
not like untying guys' shoes.
Yeah, he's not gonna mess around. But
Yeah.
but what I really like about Clarkson is that not only can like everybody on this roster for the most part, he can play multiple positions. Because every guy we added can kind of do that. Even Brogdon. Brogdon can play the 1 or the 2. Clarkson can play the 1, 2, or even the 3 in emergency situations. He's got enough length and size to do that. And it kind of gives you flexibility. You can have lineups where you have Brunson, you can have Miles McBride, and you can have Clarkson or Malcolm Brogdon. So, like, I feel like the flexibility of this team is also by position. You're no longer limited to, hey, you're the power forward or you're the center. And we were very traditional under previous regime. You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, Tibbs was not known for going, hey, we're going to have a guy who can play the 4 or the 5, or a guy who can play the 3 or the 4, the 2 or the 1. And I feel like now all of our guys can play multiple positions with the exception of probably Brunson. Even Brunson can play off ball. Right? So, all right, so we got Clarkson, we got Yabusele.
I wanted to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on the Mike Brown hire? Segueing to coaching.
We're just moving on.
Yeah. Well, screw Brogdon then. Like, damn.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Well,
No, I mean, listen, we got.
I need to see. He's got to make the team first.
I think Brogdon's making the roster.
My
think so.
only
He should,
concern
yeah.
with him being on the roster is the fact we brought this up before we started filming. Injury prone. I'm scared that
That's why we have Clarkson. You know, the idea is you got McBride, Clarkson, Brunson.
Kolick. I mean,
Well, I personally think Kolick's going to be the odd man out. And that's
think
something
so,
we got to
too.
discuss. It's probably Daddy or Kolick. And the thing is, the reason why I would opt, and I was a big Kolick guy, but you add Brogdon, you add Clarkson, granted, they are temporary guys.
we have so many guards.
We got a lot of
the
guards.
thing to me though is that it was just interesting that they really wanted to showcase Dadier.
Yeah, look, he's-
Of course.
That to
Yeah.
me was interesting because like maybe they wanted to show something.
He's on the starting
I'm sure
lineup,
they
man.
are, and
Both, you know.
they're putting it out there. Hey, this guy's available, but we're actually a lot more thin at the wing
We
position.
are. It's
Yeah.
OG
You know,
and we're
Josh
one bad
Hart-
OG.
Yeah.
We're
you
one
know.
injury away from being thin at the wing
So
position.
Yeah.
I'd rather keep him.
I agree, and he's got a little more upside. I mean, Daddy
He's
is 20
younger.
years old. Kolick is 24. I love that Kolick has that ability to be diverse in terms of. I'm sorry, Daddy, in terms of being able to be small forward, shooting guard, and maybe even stretch 4 at
He
times.
was getting boards.
He can do a little bit of everything.
He's an athletic.
The thing about Kolick is he didn't have the best preseason, and he is 24 years old. So if you're gonna sell, he's a second round pick. So it's not like we're giving up much to move on. So. But anyway, we do have to transition. Let's talk about the new coach.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
obviously we
yes.
expressed in the past about our feelings about Tibbs. We all, I think, agree that Tibbs was a very good coach for this team, but we saw the limitations. So what do we see Mike Brown bringing to the table? And we have 2 preseason games to kind of look at so far.
9 to 10 man
Let's start over
rotation.
here. Well, we're definitely not doing just 9.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be
Only
10.
more.
He's
Probably, right?
no. I think in the first preseason game, everybody had minutes.
Everybody played.
Yeah.
That's
So we don't know what the rotation is yet
Well, yeah.
because
Yeah.
the guys are going to get cut. But what do you think about Mike Brown? What does he bring to the table, Jade?
I think our defense is going to be way better. compared, even though Tibbs, yes, he was like a defensive, like minded coach, it was just something was not clicking with the players in Tibbs. I don't know what that is because obviously we're not behind the scenes with them. But I feel like with Mike Brown, I feel like our defense would get better, and also passing the ball is going to be way more important instead of more isolation plays. And
we already saw that a little bit in the preseason games too.
Yeah, or even like in their practices. I don't know if you saw that video behind the scenes.
There's a lot more ball movement.
Yeah,
that was one of the
I think that's like one of the most important things. We didn't have that last season. We had like a lot of isolation plays.
A lot of Brunson.
Honestly, I didn't feel like we had much of an offensive scheme last year.
Everyone stays.
It was like Brunson figured out, walk the ball up. You're down to 16 seconds on the shot clock before you even start doing your first motion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you make a couple passes and a guy takes a shot that might be good, but it really depends on if the offensive player can break down or if somebody gets open.
Yeah.
Right? So you're saying free flow offense maybe a little bit. We saw that. Ben, what do you think?
I would say for sure like a lot more ball movement. I would say something that really stuck out to me, and this was in Mike Brown's, like he did this in a press conference. He said this. He was like, I want JB to get easier shots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him taking the ball up the floor every time. You got to preserve his energy. You know, that's something that we didn't do in the last regime.
Yeah.
He was working so hard, so much harder than any of the other teams on like the other side of the floor to get a bucket because he was taking up so much of the shot clock. He was taking so many more hits. I just think that this will benefit him in ways because it will benefit his health.
It's going to preserve him a little, right?
Even Hart too, because of all this. Like those guys. Even Hart said he was like, "Yo, I was gassed by the end of."
Yeah, Hart had the second most minutes in the NBA
I'm
last
sure
year.
Brunson kind of felt that way too. He was getting. And remember, like in that elimination game where he had all the turnovers, Nembhard was on him. And he wasn't even like letting him breathe. Dude.
Well, it felt like we didn't have a solution to that because it felt like nobody had really attempted to do that type of pressing on us and forcing Brunson to, rush the ball up the court. Like I felt like nobody attempted that until Indiana, and it felt like we didn't have a plan for it, right?
Yeah, and I just think that that it's going to benefit him also, especially not bringing the ball up because he'll be able to, He can move without the ball too.
He can. I mean, and Brunson's an excellent shooter, so it's not like he's not useful off ball,
Yeah.
And then you have other guys who can handle the ball, right? It's not like they didn't bring any guards in, right? Yeah. Plags, what about you?
I'm ready to see some true 5-out lineups. Usually when Tibbs was there was a lot of Josh Hart that kind of didn't allow that like 5-out offense, and sometimes there would be Mitch, there'd be Precious, but now I think. Cat at the 5 has some problems with defense, but I want to see pure offense. It's like it'll be Cat, it'll be like Yabusele.
So everybody on the court can shoot from anywhere.
Yeah,
you can potentially do that.
The bigs can shoot. That's
we know
good.
OG can shoot. We know that certain guys can shoot.
Even shoot.
Calbridge can shoot.
Miles,
great mid-range.
McBride can shoot.
McBride's one of the better shooters in the team too. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yo, his vert is crazy. Let me just say that.
Deuce. Oh
Yeah.
You know what's
He's an
funny?
athletic guy.
Well, yeah, he used to play football.
Oh yeah,
quarterback.
Yep. My take is, I expressed last year my kind of concern about how Tibbs used to run the offense. To be honest with you, I know I'm exaggerating when I say this, but they had a system, but the system wasn't really modern. We're already seeing that with these guys and what they're capable. We know these guys can play offense. Jade, I'm going to respectfully disagree on the defense aspect. I believe the team is going to take a little bit maybe of a step back defensively in terms of the system, but I think the lineup will be better. Like I think right now we're already seeing that Mitch is going to be the starting center. I think that makes them a better defensive team more so than the system.
Does too.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
Our additions.
Yeah,
right.
I think that there's a couple guys like Clarkson and Brogdon are not going to really help us defensively, in my opinion. I don't think they need to. I think we all know that the point guard position is probably our weakest defensive position overall, but it's not really, I think, necessary for us. But I think when you look at the wings, we look at Bridges, we look at OG Anunoby, we look at what Yabusele can do, Wingstop. We look at what Yabusele provides on the defensive end, and we even look at what Huck Porty does as a backup center. I think we're pretty good on length, man. I think the length is solid. I think the offense is going to take a significant jump. And I think that's not even just the starters. I think the starters might be technically worse offensively, but I think the fact that we have reinforcements coming in and a new system, I think the offense will be better. I think when Mike Brown,
I think some people are going to benefit from this offense.
Absolutely.
So I think like guys like Mikal Bridges are going to really have a better year, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And you said Deuce too before we
Deuce too,
Yeah.
but I think Mikal, he's going to be more aggressive. He was not. I don't think he was aggressive last year. He had moments where he was aggressive going.
The paint was clogged, in my opinion. When you look at what they tried to do last year is, you basically had, JB on the outside and you had Karl Anthony Towns pretty much the inside, and with Josh Hart and Brunson being kind of like the guys that go to the basket, we had a lot of standing around by Bridges and OG Anunoby, at least early in the year. And I think that as the year went on, we started to see guys go to the paint a little bit. Bridges developed that great mid-range kind of fadeaway jumper that he started to do. That was the way he went inside. But I think that we do need to see guys take it to the basket, and I think they need to know there's a guy watching their back. Who's that? It's Mitchie. Mitchie is the best offensive rebounder in the game, and that's going to
also
allow
a great
guys.
defender, man.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
I think that he
But on the
helps it,
offensive end, what Mitchell Robinson does is he provides you with extra possession. So guys are going to go to the basket more if they think there's a guy watching their back, and that's what Mitch brings to the table. When Mitch wasn't on the team, when he was hurt last year,
He would settle.
we had one shot, and that was it. And remember, rebounding-wise, the guys, Karl Anthony Towns doesn't get his boards. We know that. But the majority of his boards are defensive rebounds. So on the offensive end, when they didn't hit their first shot, we were done. So you have to get, and one of the things we were good at last year was forcing points off turnovers. We were able to be one of the best teams in the league when it comes to that.
I think we were third in the league.
Yes. Now, that may not be as strong this year. I think it still will be up there. But now we are not relying on those points to get baskets. Now we have an offensive system, and we can say, hey, listen, let's play to our strengths. We have guys all over the court who can score. In fact, I dare, name a player on the team right now besides Mitchell Robinson who can't shoot.
Nobody. There you go.
When have we
Josh
ever
Hart.
been able to say that? If Josh Hart,
It's been like
Josh
decades.
Hart's your second worst shooter on the
That's
team.
not
pretty
bad.
good.
That's
Because
pretty
Yeah.
good.
because he actually doesn't have a bad shooting
Nah,
percentage.
he can hit.
No.
I'm worried about that finger.
Yeah,
but
I've seen that, yeah.
And
otherwise,
the
I,
back spasm. I mean, he's dated.
oh well,
David.
we know
Yeah.
Josh. Yeah, I'm worried about that finger though more because
That
that's his
finger.
shooting hand.
That also, that really affected Cat last year when he had that because
Oh,
he
yeah.
got
Oh,
that
yeah.
injured. He got that injured.
Yeah.
The beginning
And
of the year.
they want. And here's something I want to mention before we move on to we talked about the bench, but my biggest. One of the things I'm most excited about is that we already seen the preseason. They're getting Mitch involved in the offense. They're getting Cat on transition. They're asking these bigs now to not just. Last year, whenever we went down the floor, if Mitch was actually, later in the season when he was back, he's trailing. And by the time he gets to the other side of the court, it's almost like, hey, we're going back the other way. So now what they're doing is they're featuring Mitch on the transition. So Mitch had a couple easy buckets this year. Now teams are going to foul him as we get into the season. When they see an easy bucket opportunity, they're going to foul him.
well, that's
but
why
obviously-
gotta
he
give
got to
alley-oops.
practice his free throw.
Of course. And we're not going to fix that. So the solution is you got to give your bigs easy buckets. And then I heard this on the telecast too. You got to feed the big. When the big goes out and gets a big block shot, when he's coming down that floor, you should give it to him so he gets a dunk.
Momentum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't
And
we
then
have a moment like that in
Cat
game
and
2?
Yabusele. Yes, we did. So it's happening already. So I'm big on that potential there. It's not always about the shooting. It's about getting your bigs who need to get easy buckets, getting them a couple points. If Mitch can give us, honestly speaking, if Mitch can give us 6 to 7 points a game, we're okay with that. And he's going to get his rebounds, and he's going to get his blocks. And I think the defense will be better if Mitch is healthy. And if he's not, we got Huck Porty sitting in the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm very interested to see is I'm excited, because Mike Brown, right, when he coached the Kings, he had a very talented big in Sabonis. I am excited to see how he utilizes Cat differently than Tibbs did, and I want to see some Brunson and Cat pick and roll.
I want to see him use Cat as a hub, like how he did with Sabonis and how
I
Hartenstein
would
was a
love
little bit
that.
for us.
And Cat's an underrated passer.
Yeah,
He's a great
passer, I
passer.
think.
It's a very good passer. He had a couple even, I can't remember, I wish I had the clip up, but there was a play where he definitely did a no-look pass to the cutter, but he was looking at the perimeter guy, and instead of giving it to him, he gave it to the
Was that
cutter.
versus Indiana or something?
No, it was in the preseason.
It was in the
Yeah, it was a preseason.
We
It was-
will
it was
find
Sixers.
this clip
but either way,
eventually.
it had to be game 2, I think, because it might have been OG, but either way, it doesn't matter. But we see the potential for the new offense. We talked about the bench, and I'm trying to think, did we leave any of the bench players out? We talked Brogdon, we talked Yabusele, we got Jordan Clarkson.
Did we talk Shamet?
Well, you brought up Sham because you're a Shamit guy.
Yeah.
Shamit actually, in my opinion, looked better towards the end of the season in the playoffs. If this guy can get open shots, I'm all for
You
Shaman.
could definitely knock down 3.
But it's going to be Shaman or probably Garrison Matthews. So I don't know.
Who would you guys
I'd rather have Shaman. But
Yeah, I'd rather
He's
have
been with the
Shaman.
team already,
I
so-
think Shaman's
And
a
also-
better defender.
he's a better overall player. He can do more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he could also play 3 positions. Shaman could slide in and play the 3 on an emergency situation.
Yeah.
You know, just
That
like
might be
Clarkson.
a
and the
If we
other
were
guys.
playing a small team, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like in foul trouble or something.
Yeah, I think this is the one year where we're not as worried about, like, if Mitch goes in foul trouble, I'm not as worried. I'm like, hey, send in Huckporty.
you
If you
go.
got to give him minutes.
Yabusele.
Or Yabusele, yeah.
Yabusele would be great.
You know, the more I think about it, the more I think we should keep Dottier.
We should, man.
Yeah.
Because I think that having,
need that
having
wing.
wing depth is super.
And we don't have wings.
That's the one position where you could argue that we're one injury away from having
Well,
a
that's the
problem.
thing. We have wing depth with those 2 guys, but if one of them gets hurt, God forbid,
Yeah, I mean, they're
and
starters.
then we have one really
If you look at the structure of the team, too, if you're breaking it down, like, I used to say a couple years ago when we talked about this team that they were very traditional. Everybody there was a starter and there was a traditional backup, and you didn't really stray away from that. And not every backup even played. Sometimes the backup was the starter. In some cases, like OG Anunoby was the starting power forward, but Josh Hart was the backup power forward. Right? This year it's a little different. Although one similarity is our backup power forwards are essentially the backup centers. So you're looking at Yabusele and Karl-Anthony Towns are starting power forward and backup power forward essentially, but they're going to be the backup centers. That's how it's going to work. Because you got Mitch, and if Huckporty ends up in the rotation, then that changes things. But I don't know if Huckporty's going to be in the rotation. So if we're looking at it like that, you have Mitchell Robinson at the center, you got Kat and Yabusele are going to rotate to the 5, and then the rest of the guys are going to rotate too. OG's going to slide to the 4, and we know he can play that. Josh Hart will also slide to the 4 in certain circumstances.
Coming off the bench will do wonders for the bench.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it
Instant
last
energy.
year. We said it needed to happen, and it did in the playoffs. It was probably too late. But now, starting the year with that as a mentality, I think that in itself is going to make us better. People forget that we didn't just get better in the bench by adding those other guys. We got better in the bench by adding Josh Hart to the bench.
Just by moving
Just
a
by
guy.
moving him. Yeah, so the bench is the biggest improvement, in my opinion, on this team. And then the head coaching thing is going to be something we see as we go on the season. I'm optimistic, but of course we have to assess that once we know
we have to
more.
give it a couple months.
Yeah, you got to see, right?
And
Yeah.
we need to see a scheme.
Yeah, well, we're seeing it. Watch
Yeah.
preseason games,
We're
we're
playing
seeing
fast.
it.
We're
And
playing
I'll throw one last thing in there is, the big thing about like this change is, we're seeing that, guys are gonna get hurt eventually. But the biggest thing that Mike Brown said about the big change in philosophy is we're not gonna chase games. We're not gonna chase wins. We're gonna try to preserve the players for the playoffs because that was a priority when they hired him. And it's messed up. It sounds like it's a knock at Tibbs, but the thing was that last year and the previous years, we would play these guys to get that win, to get home court advantage. But we all saw that as much as we want home court advantage,
It doesn't matter.
It ultimately is not the defining thing. We beat Boston in Boston first 2 games, and we lost to Indiana in game 1. So it's clear that it's not about the home court advantage. You have to get it, but you got to be healthy. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what killed us.
And
man.
that's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, that's
of
what
the
killed us
coaching
even
change.
in 2024
a
playoffs.
lot of years.
Every year
Yeah,
that we've
a lot of
lost
years.
has
Yeah.
been injuries. I mean, last year we were relatively healthy.
No, 2024 though there was like
It was 7-man
We were
rotation.
ravaged. We had nobody left. Brunson ended up breaking his hand. So last year we were mostly healthy during the season, with the exception of Mitch. But now we're deeper. We're not sitting on. I mean, listen. 2 years ago we had Daquan Jeffries. We had guys that weren't even supposed to be on the roster. Last year we had a bunch of rookies on the bottom bench and campaign. Now we're saying.
Now
we got
we're getting
guys.
better
We got
every
guys.
year.
Yeah.
And the biggest takeaway, and I'm stealing this from Nick Fan TV, but was the idea that guys want to be here now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even if these vets don't work out this year, I guarantee you there's more vets that are
You
going
know
to want
why?
to come
It's
next year.
culture, man. And that's why, because it went from like nobody wanting to come here.
Exactly.
Now we got people taking less money to come here.
Malcolm Brogdon is trying to prove that he can still be on an NBA roster and be healthy. Jordan Clarkson said, I made my money in Utah. I played for years on a rebuilding team. I want to win a championship with New York. And then you have Landry Shaman, who's been in Brooklyn. He's been on the Knicks now. He's been on teams that have had success, have made the playoffs, and he said, this is the place I want to be. Right?
Yeah.
And Yabusele, we said it already. He's thinking,
Picked us over Denver, man.
yep. Which
Because
says a lot.
guys who come here, they want to win.
And Denver is a championship caliber team. I mean, they
Oh,
got,
yeah.
They got
the
their
MVP,
championship,
man.
yep.
They got like,
Especially with their new, we can talk about them
I
later,
really-
but
I-
their new improvements.
I like that trade for them though, getting Cam Johnson.
I do
Oh,
too.
yeah.
But we're not talking about the Nuggets. We're not. All right, so let's move on. So can we just briefly just mention, I already said what my expectations essentially are. I expect big things out of this team. I'm not going to go and say championship or bust because I know that's going around. I do think they have potential, but what are your expectations realistically for this team?
I want the finals. That's it. I want the finals. East is open. You got Boston kind of banged up. You got Cleveland.
Indiana.
Kind of
Cleveland chokes in the playoffs, so sorry.
So,
I don't think
yeah.
you could totally overlook Boston.
Hold on. Let's
Plax, yeah.
finals. Do we have to win it or do we need to just get there?
I think I need to see the finals first. You know, if
Okay.
you make the finals, that's fine. There's still the Thunder you got to worry about.
Yeah.
And there's still,
The
but
West
East,
is
but the East
hard.
is wide open. So if we can't make the finals, then
And before
I
we
don't
move
know.
on to Ben, is there anybody in the East that scares you?
No, I know Brunson was like, we got to worry about everyone. You don't like.
He's given the
PR
right answer. Yeah.
But really, no, not really.
All right.
I mean, who do we have to worry about? The
they're-
Magic?
They're a good
Listen,
team.
I mean, they're a good
It's
team,
early.
but like,
there's always going to be a team that's going to be on the rise. So there's
Yeah,
going to
and
be
there's
one
gonna be
team that
teams
does that.
I
It
mean,
might be Detroit.
Detroit.
oh yeah,
It
Detroit.
could be Orlando.
I would say Detroit, Orlando, and Cleveland are the top three
Okay.
best teams
All
in
right.
the East. Right? And I don't think that you could still count out the Celtics. I know that they're going through a hard time, but there's a lot of teams that they're always going to be feisty. I think that even Atlanta is going to be.
I think Celtics and Atlanta will probably make it to the playoffs.
I mean, they
I
got
don't know about
Porzingis.
Atlanta, to be
Yeah, I
honest.
think they're still playing.
Well, yeah, you have to see. You have to see
Atlanta
how.
for me is a
The
mystery still.
Heat
But
are always trouble, but Tyler Hero's out.
So if you talk about for me, the Heat are right now, I think, going through transition. I think that you can even see a major trade this year, depending
Bam
on
or something.
I could easily see. I mean, Bam's in the being is at the point in his career where he probably wants to win again.
Everybody's saying that Bam might go to Golden State.
Ooh.
What are they
The
gonna, I
unction.
just want to know what they're going to give up to.
Al Horford in a second round pick.
You think that's
In the
enough to get
second
Bam?
round,
out of
why
there?
would they
That's
want a
enough.
second?
I was
Let's
joking.
get in the trade
That
talk.
was so nasty.
I would
So
take Bam
disrespectful.
Adebayo in a heartbeat.
Dude, literally the whole
Sleeper pig. Trade Mitch for Bam Adebayo.
Golden-
I love Mitch. I love Mitch. But if we're gonna put Bam on the trade
For
block,
me, it's like the whole Golden State Warriors starting lineup is a retirement home.
Well,
So,
besides
for
like
me-
Buddy Hield, but like
Yeah,
they're still
yeah,
their
yeah.
I know
They're all-
their average age is I think 35.8 years old.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Al
Is this
Horford
the
is almost
Golden State
40.
Warriors podcast or is the Knicks perspective?
no, I'm just.
We're just
trying to-
saying.
All right, so East-wise, okay?
East-wise.
Let's talk about the East first. But all right, in the West, who are we worried about then, Ben?
In the West,
if you're talking about the West.
OKC.
Thunder, that's it.
Nuggets.
Thunder, that's it.
I'm worried about Nuggets.
I'm gonna be honest with
we
you.
match up with them well.
Let's think about the West when we got to think about them. But
so-
yeah, we got until
East.
April.
We need to win the East.
all right, so we're in the
need to-
same page. So
that's
we're talking
what it
about
is.
making it to the finals. Got to win the East.
You got to
Got
win.
it.
You got to take it step by step.
I think
I'm
it's
not trying to
very.
skip steps.
I think it's very possible for us to take it all. Honestly,
All right, so you think championship?
But I can see
Yeah.
championship.
I could see
Just
championship,
got to get there.
but
Yeah.
goal this year is finals.
I just feel like-
Championship would be nice.
you know what I think is? I just think that in the playoffs, anything can happen. I think it's
Absolutely.
about, and I think in a lot of sports, in baseball,
We saw-
football, basketball, it's about who gets hot at the right time. Indiana got hot at the right time.
They did.
They beat Cleveland. They beat us.
It's
and then
like
they-
Atlanta from a few years back.
Exactly. They got hot at the right time in 2021.
Okay.
So I think for me, it's like hopefully we get hot at the right time and we're healthy.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it.
So we're really just kind of looking at, it's in the East. We may be looking at Detroit, Orlando as risers, maybe Atlanta, even though I'm not as high on Atlanta personally. But we'll see. I think I like the idea of Dyson Daniels coming back and they can have a full year kind of with this squad now already established. And I mean, my thing with Atlanta is they're always trading guys. So I just feel like there's no real consistency.
Because they're
Core.
trying to build around Trae Young, because they're like, oh, that's our franchise player. We need to trade around him, and then
We'll see. I
can
mean,
see- I
to
can
me,
see
they're a little bit of a question mark.
soon I
Is
Yeah.
Porzingis healthy?
it's like either they're gonna be a playoff caliber team or they're gonna be like the 11th seed or
I think that
something.
if they do that for like another year, I think Trae Young's going to be out.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk about them. We don't care about Trae Young.
Just screw Trae Young.
All right, so
Sorry.
in the West, we're basically saying we know that the champs are still the champs, the Thunder. I'm hoping they have some sort of, even though they're young, so I don't feel like this is going to be them, but I'm hoping there's a little bit of a championship hangover where they're like, yeah, we don't have to,
Lay back.
yeah, like maybe it's like, yeah, we won one, now let's
Like
chill a little
Boston
bit.
type.
But at the same time, they're like,
To a lot of teams. It happened to the Liberty this year in the WNBA. They won a
yeah.
championship.
I
North
was
Carolina back.
sorry.
Adrian.
I was watching WNBA this year, and I was so pissed off at that and the Minnesota Lynx. But I'm not gonna get into that because it's the Knicks.
I watched the Lynx. Don't get me started
I'm
on
a
that.
big
The
Sabrina
coach ruined
Ionescu
it.
fan.
I know I'm a big Natasha Cloud fan, and I'm a big Courtney Williams fan, so for what happened to
upset about that one.
I'm not getting into it right now.
Nah, we'll talk later about
Is this a Liberty podcast or a Knicks?
No, we're talking about the Minnesota Lynx right now.
At least Liberty in New York, okay?
True.
All right, but anyway, so I know. So we were worried about the Thunder. Of course, you got the Nuggets. You got. I have to say, I was
still
watching
think
the
Golden
Mavericks
State.
game. I know that they played a really,
Honestly, yeah.
Honestly, no.
I don't think you got to worry about Golden State. I think they're still.
It's-
a good
Listen,
team.
It's
if
Steph.
Steph Curry's on a team, you never know. But I'm going to tell you, Dallas. I feel like Dallas is kind of like one of those teams you're like, which way are they going to go? Because they still have now a healthy Anthony Davis. Cooper Flag.
Kyrie is-
You know what Cooper Flag's first thing he did in the game? This was his preseason debut last night. What do you think is the first stat he gets? If you had to guess, probably scoring, right? It's
Yeah.
a block. He blocked the guy immediately. I'm
He's a
not.
freak, man.
I think Cooper Flag he's going to start at the 3.
He's a savior
let's
of the
see
Mavs.
If this works, they're going with like a little bit of most teams are not going to put 3 guys that are essentially bigs in the front court, and they got Gafford, Anthony Davis, and Cooper Flag.
You know who they also have? Who's a great player? PJ Washington.
Well, he was the other one. You know, they have a pretty good team. If Kyrie's healthy, I'd be worried about that.
That team
Yeah,
is
that'd be-
that
yeah.
team.
Yeah.
That team could be.
Well,
like, could
Kyrie
go
will be
far if
back
they're healthy.
later in the season,
It's going to
right?
be a long time though. Still got a couple months, so they might be good in March. So we'll see. I think
I
it's
hope
going to
let's
be.
plan before they get Kyrie back. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Let's make sure they're out of the hunt. But Dallas could be dangerous in the playoffs. And then I'm going to throw this out here. I don't know what's going to go on with the Lakers with Braun decision 2.0. Apparently, did you guys
No,
look that up?
it's a Hennessy ad.
They had
Oh,
their
they announced it already?
Yes, it was at 12.
franchise player
Right?
in
Wait,
Luka,
hold on.
though. So
Well,
they-
the thing
they
is, I
have-
feel like with Luka on the roster, you cannot count him out.
And Lucas, he got skinny over the summer.
Yeah, it's like that every year.
He's way more athletic
Did you
now.
see Zion?
Zion looks pretty good.
No, you heard about
Man.
he got. I mean, they have Jordan Poole now, but like,
I don't know. I think the one's going to be terrible.
yeah.
Those guys. are good together.
And then, of course, you cannot sleep on the Denver Nuggets, who were champs in the past with 4-time MVP
Clippers
over here.
still.
I'm gonna be honest.
They're-
with you.
they're still old.
I don't believe in the Clippers. That's just
No.
me. I don't know why. I
They're
just
another
feel like
retirement.
No, the
They
Clippers
are, but they're
are a
literally-
cursed franchise.
Yeah.
they kind of are.
Oh,
but
and the Kawhi Leonard with the
I
tree,
just
with the tree
think,
thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's.
just think
You heard that he's looking
they're
into Brunson?
literally- Yeah, I heard. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
I just am worried about like their injury potential. Like they are
He's got
literally one
CP3,
injury
man.
away from an injury, but he's gonna play backup point guard. You know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
Oh, you know who I think is gonna have a great season is Wemby, man. Did you see
Oh
this?
yeah.
Wemby.
I mean, he's number 5 player in the world.
Dude, I just saw like a video of him just like totally like he looked like a mix of like Shaq and KD.
And he got taller too. I think people are saying now he's
He was,
7'7".
he was hanging out with the monks, dude.
Yeah, he's,
Maybe
Wemby's gonna be a beast. For
he got
years
the
to come,
mentality.
man.
That's what
The
he's
only
got
reason,
mentality.
like, this is what pisses me off as a Knicks fan. I'm like, they get the number 1 pick, of course, the year that they're gonna get like the superstar
Yeah.
of the decade. You know, we never get that. And even with Dallas, I was hating on them a little bit because I'm like, they get the first pick when they were already a pretty good team. Like that's
Yeah.
it reminds me of when the Spurs drafted friggin' Tim Duncan years ago. I remember this because
Yeah, they had David Robinson.
they were good. The people don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, this is before you guys were born, but the Spurs were a good team. They won 60+ games. Were in the finals a couple years prior, and then David Robinson breaks his leg in the early part of the year, and they end up with the number 1 pick because he was clearly the best player on that team. And then they set up their future for the next 20 years.
started
They
a
win,
dynasty.
Like they win like 3 championships.
3? They won 5, my
Five,
friend.
yeah.
Yes, 5 championships.
Again, a dynasty.
That's,
Yeah,
including
dynasty.
that's including the one against the Knicks, right?
Yep, 99 against Knicks was actually
They beat-
before David. I'm sorry, it was the first Tim Duncan
Yeah,
championship
and they
before
they
Tony
beat
Parker. and them.
Cleveland.
And what 2013?
They beat Detroit?
They beat they beat the Nets.
They beat the Nets.
Right? It was the Nets.
They beat the Nets.
Anyway, we're not here to go back in time, but
Yeah.
point is,
We're not a
you-
Spurs
if you get that
podcast.
first pick in the right time, you have set up your franchise for the future, and Cooper Flag gives them that.
Yeah,
Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only
The
time that we
Spurs
ever
have done
had that
it
with
now
was with
We've
Patrick Ewing.
pretty
I mean,
much.
you know what I just find funny is that like it's like the year that they decide to trade Luka and then they get the first pick.
Are you
Like, that's-
are you a conspiracy?
Nico
It
Harrison.
just seems like a little like too good to be true.
I gotta be honest.
know
I don't.
what I'm saying?
I think that the GM gets fired if they don't get the first pick.
I mean, the thing.
I mean-
that's why I'm saying I think the NBA forced it.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I think Dallas got extremely lucky.
Yeah, they just got lucky.
That's
They
part of
got
the thing
lucky.
I don't like is like I think that like one of the worst teams deserves to get a good
Yeah.
player. I don't think that a team that's
the
already
reason
good-
why the rules in place
tanking.
is so
They
they
don't
don't
want people
tank.
to-
And look what happens. Like, you had teams tanking a few years ago, and you still end up with the top pick. And this is why the lottery system is in play. Because you had teams that were clearly not attempting to win. I mean, like the Brooklyn Nets this year. They traded away Cam Johnson because they were like, he's too good. We're going to win too many games with him. It's the same reason why the Utah Jazz traded John Collins to freaking Clippers, because they were like, he's playing too good. We're winning more games than we want. We want to be in the lottery. But the lottery and NFL has this, obviously has the regular traditional system, but in the NFL, like, nobody really wants to lose. The NBA,
because also in the NFL,
it's like half the teams
weeks,
Yeah.
18 weeks, 17 games, right?
17 games by week.
Yeah.
So 17 technical games.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a shorter season, but the NBA, you're there it's a long season.
82 games.
And listen, 82 games. If you remember a couple years ago when Dallas had our draft pick, this is the team that Luka took the Dallas Mavericks to the finals, and then the year later
They trade him.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking the reverse. No, they went to the finals and then
they
missed the playoffs the year after because they had our draft pick and they decided to lose games essentially because they didn't want to give us the draft.
I forgot about that.
Yes, because they had some injury problems. That's what happened to them. Then they traded.
They got Derek Lively. He's a good player.
Yeah,
man.
Derek Lively
We could have drafted Derek Lively. We could have used him that year. Anyway, let's shift gears a little bit. We're talking about the outlook of the East. What were you going to say?
Shout out. Guys, go follow the Knicks Perspective podcast on Spotify, Instagram. Go subscribe on YouTube and comment. And I already said subscribe.
Boom.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
We dapping everyone up.
We're dapping up for that.
We dapping up.
What we got?
You dappled really weird.
This is what happens when I show my age when I'm working with you guys and you're like, oh, wait, hold on. We got to do the shout out. We got to make sure we promote ourselves. All right, let's shift focus a little bit. I don't know what our time frame is, but we got to wrap up soon. But we do have to mention our boy Carmelo Anthony, right? We got to at least give a shout out. We don't have Carmelo on the board, which is we got to get some.
We don't have anything Melo.
I know we got to up our stuff a little bit. We got to get more stuff, represent the old school Knicks. But Carmelo Anthony, can we just at least say, like, what's our favorite memory of Carmelo? I can start with myself while you guys think of one, but. I'm not gonna. This is not my favorite memory, but it's one of my favorites. One of my favorite memories was, I think it was Easter. I can't quite remember.
I think I know what you're talking about.
About the Chicago Bulls game.
Yep.
The 3-pointer to tie the game and the 3-pointer to win the game in overtime. Essentially,
that was great.
For me, that was when we were like, "Wow, this is what it's like to have a superstar on your team." You got to remember, this was coming off an era where we had a rough stretch.
The dark age.
It was a very rough
era.
early
2000s, Isaiah Thomas running the team.
And so when we had shifted gears, we brought in Amari Stoudemire. There was some light at the end of the tunnel, but this was the moment where we were like, this is why we brought him in. I know that in retrospect, when we look back, there's some questions about how much we gave up for Melo and blah, blah, blah. And then the end of Melo's era was unfortunately not very good. But there was a point where Melo was like the heart of New York, right? And that was definitely a moment for me where I was like, this is why we brought him in, regardless of how it ended, that was a moment where I was just like, this guy is one of the best players we've ever had on this team. So what about you? What's your favorite Melo memory, or just something that you loved about his game in general? It doesn't have to be a specific memory.
There's two things that come to mind. This is one is personal, one is game. When we made it to our first playoffs in like a long time with him, that I remember watching. I was probably like, I don't even know how old I was.
So we're talking 2011-12 year.
Yeah, so I was probably like 3.
Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, right. Lin Sanity.
Actually, I think he made the playoffs the year before that. We got bounced in the first round, but yeah.
But like that first time that like we actually got to the playoffs and like just watching that, I was like 3, so I was just like, I was sitting on my couch, I was just like, yeah.
That's crazy. 3 years old.
That's true. I was 4.
Yeah. Okay. But just watching that, it was like very much. I don't know. It was cool because it's like one of my first like memories when it comes to like.
That's your beginning of your Knicks fandom.
Yeah, and also the fact that Melo is like so. I'm Puerto Rican, so like anybody who's like prideful and being like Puerto Rican, you're an 8th Puerto Rican.
That counts.
Anyways.
Sure. We'll count it.
We'll count it. Kind of.
1/8.
You get to celebrate half a week in Hispanic Heritage Month.
God. So you like that representation?
Yeah.
Having Melo be like someone that's part of your whole your culture.
Yeah, and he's the first Hispanic basketball player to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I think our Caribbean
You
has.
think Al Horford's made Hall of Fame?
He's won a championship.
He's Dominican, so maybe he'll make it. I
He's
mean,
like-
like, you would have second. Right? I'm sorry, I'm not saying he's going to make it because he's Dominican.
I was about to
He's going to
say.
make it, and he would be maybe another person to add to it, but all right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Ben, what's your favorite
Man,
mellow
well,
moment?
one thing is I think that the guy just represented New York, man.
basketball.
Because you know why? Because like he could have went to the Heat. He could have went to join
We
LeBron
found
and
that out
Wade.
later, yeah.
Because right, it was like they called him up and then they got Bosh instead. But he was like, "No, I'm gonna rock it with the Knicks. I'm gonna be their guy." And I would say,
Even though it
Man.
came later,
you know what I
I
love?
wish he
is-
told us that, as fans, that he was going to come, so we have to trade all our assets. Right, anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was definitely I was.
Lost train of thought completely.
Sorry, yeah, I
No, he's
forgot.
not a rant,
No, and then I just
He's
had
passionate.
I just thought about Danilo Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, and Raymond Felton. But we got Raymond Felton back, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's true.
I wish we kept those guys.
Nah, but what I meant was I think that my favorite Melo moment was that 62-point game in 24.
I was rewatching that the other day
Me
too.
too.
I
with
watched
with
that a
no other
lot.
statistics.
I also
No, I think it was 62, 3 and 3.
I also
Oh, okay, all right, I
also
couldn't
go
remember.
back and I've watched these like old videos. I saw like his first game in the Garden after he was traded to the Knicks, and it
That was a
was
special moment too. I
that
have to
was
say.
a great moment too.
Yeah.
So I would say those.
It was surreal watching it for the first time too. I remember being like Carmelo Anthony. I loved Carmelo Anthony coming out of the draft that year, and in fact, I know everybody.
03.
Yeah, I knew LeBron was obviously going to be like a GOAT. Maybe we didn't know he was going to be the GOAT. I'm so sorry. We shouldn't say that. Because
I
Jordan
personally I
fans.
think it's Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, he's
yeah,
in the
Jordan-
conversation though, right?
right.
Okay. He's top 3. But when Carmelo, people don't. Damn, you didn't even.
No, LeBron. It's LeBron. It's
That's
LeBron.
fun. A lot of people were debating, though, that first year that they were in the league, whether Carmelo or LeBron were better or deserved Rookie of the Year. Because people, people remember this. Carmelo got the Nuggets to the playoffs his rookie year, and they were good.
I forgot about that.
And then their team was better than Cleveland. There's just no question about it. But Melo was clearly, like, right away a good player. So a lot of, like, I actually liked Melo better than LeBron. I just liked his game better. I just was more of a fan of him. I'm not a LeBron hater by any means. I just gave him props. But I prefer Carmelo Anthony. It was kind of like the debate at the time. And so when he came to the Knicks, it was just like, yo, we got somebody who's a baller now, And no disrespect to Amari. Amari brought the Knicks back in a way, but Melo was like, okay, the Knicks are really back.
He was the heart of the team.
There you go.
It's a shame though because I think Amari and Melo didn't really mesh well.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Personally.
that's what ended up happening, but that's also partially due to fit and coaching, I would argue, and injuries later. But we'll talk. I want to.
And what they had to give up,
Of
because they had
course,
so much
yeah.
depth if they waited that off.
But you know what's happened? The NBA was starting to transition. Mari was playing the 5 and the 4, and then when
In
Melo
the beginning
came
of
in,
that
he was
season,
better at
he
the
was playing
4.
out of his mind.
Amari? Yeah,
Amari,
Amari was
dude.
was MVP candidate that first year was
Yeah.
with the Knicks. But
I
the
forgot
reason why
about
the
that
fit
too.
didn't work is because they did a lot of the same things. People forget that Amari was a mid-range jump shooter a lot of times for the Knicks during that era.
Ball
And-
dominant.
In a way, yeah. I mean, he was either cutting to the basket and dunking on people, or he was getting a mid-range jump shot. And to be honest, Carmelo did a lot of the same stuff. Carmelo was a mastermind of the mid-range game, and he needed to have the ball. And so a lot of what Amari brought to the table, unfortunately, was kind of brought with Melo as well. And also, what people don't realize is that era of basketball, the center position was starting to become like a non-factor. It wasn't the days now where we have Jokic and Embiid and all these guys. It was transitioning to smaller ball. And so Carmelo shifted to the 4 at that point in his career, and Amari was better suited at the 5. But the problem was Amari wasn't a good defender, so he couldn't play the 5 on the defensive end. So Tyson Chandler was a better fit. So the Tyson Chandler Carmelo Anthony combo was better for fit. And don't forget, we had coaching change. Mike D'Antoni, when he coached the Knicks, he was big on the small 5, and his Melo style of ball didn't fit with his system. So when we switched to Mike Woodson, it was more of a, hey Melo, this is your it's more ball dominant, ran through him. And then of course Amari had injuries. So the combination of all those things, in my opinion, is really why the fit didn't work. If we had Amari maybe 2 years prior in his prime, could have worked, but we didn't. And unfortunately, that's how history looks on it. And that ultimate pairing of the two guys was not what it could have been. Instead, what it really was Tyson Chandler, Carmelo Anthony, J.R. Smith, even Steve Novak, and these other guys were on the bench. Iman Shumpert, and Raymond Feltman coming back. That was the team I think that we liked best.
Landry Fields.
Landry Fields, initially didn't last long. By the way, just got fired by the Atlanta Hawks
Oh, he did?
6 months ago.
Wait, wasn't he like
he was their GM?
He was their GM.
He was their GM. All right, Plax, we skipped you though.
Yeah, my
What
bad,
is your favorite Melo moment?
No, I'm gonna have to go with you with the Chicago tie the game, force overtime, and then winning it in overtime against a Chicago team. I think they were probably
They were good.
They were good, really good.
Prime.
Yeah.
Joakim Noah. Luol Deng.
Sorry, it's hard to
He
separate.
robbed us, man.
He robbed us.
Robbed us.
It's like PTSD.
Actually, you know what it was? Phil Jackson just kind of messed up. But
Yeah.
anyway, so
But yeah.
that was your.
Yeah,
I know, we could-
everything-
We could
just like
we could
trigger
go
word.
until
Dude, he
the
drafted
trigger
Frankie
Yeah.
Cigarettes.
Frankie cigarettes. What was
Frankie Ntilikina.
Frankie cigarettes?
Dude,
what
he
we
drafted Kevin Knox. No, he didn't.
No, he
No.
didn't.
No, he didn't.
No. Listen, we could do
Sorry,
a
yeah.
segment on the Knicks
We could
draft
do it
bus.
on
but-
like the bus.
All right.
Sorry, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole.
No, Steve.
It's
Scott
okay.
Perry
It's okay.
drafted.
It was in the past.
Scott Perry drafted Kevin Knox. Scott Perry also drafted R.J. Barrett, but
Yeah.
no. Phil Jackson drafted Porzingis, and Phil Jackson drafted Ntilikina, and he also drafted. No, that was with the big
Yeah, and Leon
ones.
Rose's first year was 2020.
Yeah,
So
he drafted
Toppin
Obi
OB.
quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the
Okay.
fly, yeah.
Some hits, some misses.
I gotta say, I think Leon Rose has mostly had hits. I just think that, and this is going back to the coaching change thing, but you got to be able to utilize your guys. And I think ultimately, circling back to that coaching change thing, that's I think why Tibbs is not here with us also, because I think Leon Rose was like, hey, I'm giving you guys, but if you're not going to use them, why are we drafting them? We
Yeah.
drafted 4 rookies a year and a half ago, and they barely got play last year. So I think that the idea was, what's the point of having these guys on the roster?
I forgot about McCullough, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kevin McCullough is going to be on a 2-way contract this year, I think.
Well, who?
With us.
The Knicks.
Yeah. Last year he was on a 2-way, but Kevin McCullough was hurt coming out of
Yeah,
college.
out of Kansas. He was
when
out for most of
Yeah,
the
and he
year.
was a pretty good college player, to be honest.
He would have been like a first round pick.
I think he would have, yes.
Yeah.
And so we got him at a
fell.
discount, but the thing is, Kevin McCullough came back mid-season, and he looked pretty good at the end of the year. So that's why I think the Knicks are a little higher on him.
People think the word on the street is he's Josh Hart 2.0.
Well, we gotta see first.
Well, listen, you're hoping Daddy or Kevin McCullough can sort of like be that surprise at the end of the bench, maybe if you have an injury. But all right, so we had one thing left on our docket, but I don't know if we're gonna get to it because we're running out of time.
Yeah,
but,
we are.
well, let's see. What was it? We were
Jeremy
gonna say-
Lin.
Our boy Jeremy Lin retirement. Right?
Linsanity.
Dude, honestly, we might have to retire his jersey too. I mean,
We need to get a
who wears 17?
I wear 17. All my jersey 17.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Because of Plaxico Burst right there.
Oh yes, gotcha.
Jet legend
Yeah.
and giant legend.
Jet legend? Are you kidding me? I liked him on the Jets. Personally, my favorite number 17 on Jets is Braylon Edwards. But anyway, Jeremy Lin's jersey is not gonna retire. I'm sorry.
No.
No.
He was there for like a year and a half.
We
Yeah.
haven't even retired Melo's jersey.
Yeah, no.
Are we gonna retire Melo's jersey?
I think they should.
That's the next step, right?
Nobody's wearing
Nobody's
seven,
wearing number
so
7.
Might as well.
So you want to hear something piss me off? I'm playing 2K, and then in one of the modes you can't change the players' numbers, and we end up with I think Brogdon, one of my franchises, and I'm like, he's wearing
wearing
number 7, and I'm like, stop, game. How can you give that
But
number?
it's number 5. He wears number 5.
Yeah, but this is before the actual update, so they I don't know what happened. You know. But yeah, no one should be wearing number 7 for the Knicks ever again, in my opinion.
No.
Shout out Mel.
Right? Shout out
Shout out
Mel.
Lin.
If only Phil Jackson had done better. That's when I'm gonna rant. I'm not gonna rant on it today. I think we should create a section on our next episode.
You're just ranting.
Well, we can go about Knicks bust. Now that we are in a better position, we can talk about the things that went wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we got to shout out Scott Perry for getting Mitchell Robinson in the second round.
Yeah.
Our
There were a
ability
lot
to
of
get
good second
talent in the
round
second round
grabs.
is-
Scott Perry wasn't a terrible GM. He was a transitional GM
From
in my
Phil
opinion.
Jackson.
Yeah, he was much better than Phil, and I would say he was better than Steve Mills, who came before him too. Like Steve Mills and Phil Jackson were awful.
But Leon has been picking the
Leon's been
smartest.
great, man.
Yeah, he's been doing the smartest moves out of
Just-
all of
to
our
me, it's like
previous
you would
GMs.
just think that like Phil would have been better at identifying talent with all the teams and the coaches he had, but it doesn't mean that you're a good GM if you're a coach.
Well, the problem with Phil, besides the obvious stuff, was Phil was a good assessment of talent, but he wasn't good at putting team players together that fit. And the other problem was with Phil was he wasn't really committed, honestly speaking. Like he was
took the
falling
money,
asleep
you know?
during like draft processing, watching guys, and he would have other guys do the job for him. And the truth is, like, if you're going to do that, Leon Rose has found the right balance. What he's done is he has guys that are in the field that he's like, this is my cap guru. This is my, the guy I rely on for the draft process. Their scouts are a little more professional and know what they're doing. Leon Rose, I think, has a complete organization, whereas like Phil, it was like he's figuring out the job, right? Where Leon didn't, even though Leon was also new to the job, we could tell there was a big difference in
He
the
had more
experience.
of like a flow with it.
Yeah, Leon had years of dealing with players and understood.
He was
like,
LeBron's agent for a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah. So Leon
So
Rose
he knows.
is probably going to end up like we're talking about retirement of jerseys. Like, if the Knicks win a championship, there's no question in my mind that
Brunson.
Leon Rose. Well, listen, that's a given.
11.
But we're going to have to remember who got us here, and Leon Rose deserves a lot of credit for why we have this team.
Because he took over a bad team. You think about that team right before COVID, we had Mo Harkless as one of our wings.
Kevin Knox.
Look at the starters back then. I mean,
Dude,
the
we had-
starters were guys that were none of them
We
in
had
the
Alfred
league.
Payton.
Yeah, and a lot of people knock Alfred Payne, but he still got us to the
He
playoffs.
got us to the playoffs. Who else? Who else do we have?
I mean, we're talking about guys like, Lance Thomas was on the team during the Phil Jackson era. I mean, Lance Thomas shouldn't have been a starter.
Michael Beasley was Knicks legend.
Michael Beasley.
Dude, he's like the best one-on-one.
I know.
All time.
But listen, at least Michael Beasley was the second pick in the draft. But the guys that we had on this team before Leon
Jared
Rose.
Jack.
I mean, even Jared Jack, man, these guys are not
I'm
terrible.
just, like, naming-
The guys
You're, like,
that are
naming,
bad
like,
are
all the
guys
Knicks.
that
Ron
you can't
Baker.
remember. Ron Baker, Travis Ware. Do you remember Travis Ware? Probably not. And I don't even think guys like Moutier, those guys are not even the bad of the bad.
There's been worse
We're talking about
guys.
guys that shouldn't have been on NBA rosters. We're talking about Joakim Noah
Samuel
playing 5
Dallenberg.
games. Samuel Dallenberg, who never played for us, basically. You know what Samuel Dallenberg is known for? Besides being on the Sixers back in the day, Dallenberg was known for not paying.
I know him because Stephen A. Smith went on a rant.
He was known for not paying what?
Dallenberg is known for not providing his. He used to have like his property in Hoboken. He wasn't.
He
had
does? That's where I'm from, Hoboken.
he wasn't fixing his houses. There was no heat. There was
no.
problems. Yeah, so that's what he's known for.
Great landlord.
Great landlord. Yeah. All right. Any last things we want to say about the Knicks before we move on?
We've come a long way.
Let's
Yeah,
just
I'm
do
proud
one
of
last
us.
thing.
One last thing,
What
right here, rapid
player
fire.
are you excited for? Rapid fire for this season. Like, who do you think is going to have a big year? And not the obvious ones. We know Brunson's going to be big body Brunson. We know that Cat's going to get his numbers. But who are you excited to watch this year?
I have mine, but I want other people
No,
to
go ahead.
first.
Yeah. like
No, I'm just kidding. Do whatever you want.
I'm going Mikal Bridges. I'm
Okay.
going because I know we gave up a lot of picks for the guy, and everyone was like, he's not worth all that. But I think he's being put in a better spot to succeed, especially offensively.
All right.
I think that he's going to thrive because this offense is going to force him to be more aggressive because it's not a ISO-heavy offense. That's what I'm going with.
Who else want to go?
a deuce.
You got Deuce.
Stole my
I
should've went
like
first.
that. I like that.
Because-
some people saying we're gonna trade him. I'm like, no,
No.
don't trade him.
When I heard
trade
those
Cole
rumors,
before.
I had a mini heart attack because I was like, I don't know. Out of everybody that's on our bench, I want to trade him the least. Well, yeah, basically, I want to trade him the least out of everyone.
Okay.
I think he's genuinely a great backup point guard or even a backup shooting guard. That would be also great for him too.
He's really more of a backup off guard. You know?
He doesn't take the ball off the floor.
No, that's not
No.
his game. He's
Yeah,
a
exactly.
shooter and he's a defender.
Yep.
He's like a 3-and-D wing if he was a wing, but he's not
Yeah.
tall enough for a wing. But he has the wingspan of an off guard. You know. So
I think he's going to be very important to the team this year.
I think defensively we need that toughness. So I agree with you on that. You know who I'm going with, right? What do you think I'm going with? I'm going with Mitchell
with
Robinson, man.
Mitchell.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I understand
tough,
that
man.
he's got to be healthy, of course. But I really think that with Mitch, if he is healthy, of course, there's a big if. I think he changes the way this team can, what their potential
You
is.
saw,
And it's so different from how he played last year because he was out for most of last
you
year.
saw when he came back, the things he was able to do, the rebounds, dude, his defense in the
We went from one of the worst defensive teams in
One
the
of the
league
best.
to one of the best. Yeah.
His
an
thing
X
is
factor.
he can guard the perimeter on a switch if necessary in emergency situations. We've seen him do that. He is a rim protector. He's an offensive rebounder. He's an easy bucket getter if you actually throw it up to them. And by the way, in the preseason, we've been throwing a lot lobs to him. It's like, imagine what you could do if you get the ball up there. I also think the fact that he's been focusing the offense on having Mitch move around shows that the previous regime, we said the good things that we know what Tibbs has brought to the table. He turned this franchise around from a coaching perspective, but Mitch was basically just running laps up there, just setting screens. Yeah, and he's doing a lot, but he never touched the ball. And these guys never knew. You could tell they never practiced getting him the ball.
The only time he touched the ball is when somebody would foul him and he would do foul shots.
So I'm a big Mitch guy, personally.
Okay.
What if we come in the season and Mitch is just like shooting threes?
Oh, no.
I think we would have already seen that.
Yeah.
Listen, he don't have to do that, and that's the beauty of Mitch, too.
Exactly.
He's the only guy on the team that really can't hit the three. And the thing is that it almost doesn't matter. It would be great if he could. I think you're more likely to see Huck Porty become an offensive threat in that regard. I'm not even kidding you. I think Huck Porty eventually is going to start shooting jumpers. But for now, Mitch is going to be Mitch. He's going to do what he does great, and I can only see him getting better. Of course, he's got to be healthy, and my biggest concern is that he's going to be a free agent. So I'm hoping that
I think he'll stay in New York.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you never know. He's going to get a pay increase, but he still might get a discount. So my guy's Mitch.
Plax, what do you think?
Changes the game.
Hey, my guy's Deuce as well. You know, I want to see that elite shooting leap right there. That's all I'm hoping for.
You know what's crazy? When he came in the league, and they mentioned this on
He was bad. He was
bad
bad.
shooter, yo. His form wasn't good. He shot like 20%. He never got a chance to get these shots off. He is legitimately one of the best mid-range shooters in the game, and he can hit the three, man, like no matter what. We think sometimes he's not going to be able to pull it, and he does. And he's pretty solid, man. It shows you that guys can improve through hard work.
I think he's a guy who's getting better every year because he's still young.
Yeah.
Man. He's
This
still
is fifth
23,
year.
24.
He's basically the same age as Tyler Kolek. I think.
Yeah,
But
Wow,
we've
he's a little
seen
older, actually, but
we've seen more improvement from Deuce than Tyler Kolek.
Of course, yeah. You got to get burned. That's part of it. But
You gotta,
Yeah,
If
and
it's
at
Brian-
same time, it's
he's a keeper,
Kolek's second year too. So
yeah, I mean, listen. Ultimately, I think we agreed that one of those guards is not going to make the team unless Brogdon gets hurt. I think it's going to be Kolek that gets traded, or they go with the guards. They trade Daddy A. All right, so I guess we're gonna have to wrap it up. Why don't we do your
do
your
my
thing real
plug,
quick, and we're gonna say goodbye.
guys. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. It's Knicks Perspective on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram, and follow the Spotify and Instagram.
You're gonna see us throughout the year, so hopefully it's gonna be a great next season. We're looking forward to providing content and making more videos, and hopefully next time we'll have our boy Hoffer here to join us. But
He's here in spirit.
as the great Bart Scott would say, can't wait.
All right, this is Knicks Perspective signing off.
See ya.